The New Orleans Pelicans. Who would have thought a few years ago this team would be in a position to arguably have the best future as any team in the NBA? I certainly wouldn't have. Hey guys, this is the Indian Hooper back at it again with another video for you guys. If you enjoy NBA related content like this is the right place to be. Please make sure to like, subscribe and comment. Now a few years ago, this team had a generational talent in Anthony Davis. Sure, they had Jrue Holiday even back then, and they tried the brief experiment with DeMarcus Cousins, which didn't pan out because he popped his Achilles. They made a brief playoff run in 2018 when they swept the Portland Trail Blazers, which shocked the whole world. But then they got bounced in the next round. Outside of that, this team has been, with Anthony Davis, though no fault of his, were very mediocre and managed to be a fringe playoff team. But there was a drastic turn of events that changed the whole NBA landscape in 2018. Who would do that other than LeBron James? He joined a young Lakers squad which is devoid of a superstar to make them title contenders. And it was obvious they were looking for another one of them to pair up with LeBron, and Anthony Davis obviously fit all the criteria. So in the 2019 offseason, the Pelicans and Lakers shook hands and made a trade that could arguably be the greatest trade ever that was mutually beneficial to both teams. While the media was hyped about LeBron and AD pairing up, the Pelicans garnered a lot of attention when they picked Zion Williamson first overall. Now Zion Williamson needs no introduction, but more about him later in this video. So the haul that the Pelicans got from the Lakers for Anthony Davis included Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, plus they got Zion. Man, Brandon Ingram made huge strides this season. I think he deserves the most improved. The only other person I can think of is Bam Adebayo, but Ingram definitely deserves it too. He's averaging 24.3 points, 6.3 rebounds and 4.3 assists per game on 46% field goal percentage. But I think the biggest improvement he has made this year is in his 3-point shooting. It's up to 39% on 6 attempts, which is remarkable. He wasn't known for his shooting before, and that wasn't a strong facet of his game all these years. He's also improved on defense, where he was already decent. I actually thought he would be traded this season by the Pelicans because I didn't see how he would fit beside Zion, being not able to shoot well, but he's definitely proved me wrong. He's actually a perfect fit next to Zion. He's also a better playmaker this season with 4.3 assists. So if you actually think about it, the sky is the limit for Ingram. He has legitimate superstar potential. He has the length, the quickness, the long lanky arms and wingspan. He's wiry but deceptively strong, great handles, and now a solid jump shot. Doesn't this remind you of someone we already know? Yep, Kevin Durant. No, not that Kevin Durant, this Kevin Durant. Now I know Ingram has been compared to KD before because of their body type mainly and also their length, but Ingram wasn't even close to being the shooter that Durant is. Now given the fact that his jump shot has improved drastically, I think that comparison makes a lot more sense now. Still, I'd like to see him improve his jump shot and 3-pointers to be elite like KD, but even if he gets to 80% of KD's prowess, he'll be an undisputed superstar in this league. Next we move on to Lonzo Ball. He outright proved me wrong, man. I thought he was a bust. But some prospects take time to adjust to the NBA style and start to flourish later than the others. There was so much hype around Lonzo when he was drafted by the Lakers, mainly because of his wannabe dad LeVar Ball, fueled by magic when he said he'd like to see Lonzo's jersey hanging up in the rafters next to all the Laker greats. Maybe these expectations took a toll on Lonzo and he needed more time. Now that he's out of the spotlight with the Pelicans, he's really starting to flourish, and that's really evident. He's fixed his ugly ass jump shot into something a lot more respectable. He's averaging 12, 6 and 7. Now I know when you see these stats it doesn't look like he's improved much, but they don't tell the whole story. Check this out. Lonzo Ball is shooting 38% from 3 on 6 attempts a game, which is elite. He's also one of the best defenders in the league amongst the guard position. He can literally lock you up. He's able to catch and shoot threes, set up his teammates beautifully. I mean, he has a generational passing gift, I must say, and is also an underrated rebounder. The only thing he can't do well yet is create his own offense. Pull-up jumper, driving to the rim and finishing with contact, that sort of a thing. He's made strides there too, but there's a lot of scope for improvement, I can say. I can see him becoming a perennial all-star if he figures that out. His fit with Zion was again questionable, Then we got Josh Hart, who's actually flown under the radar with the Pelicans this season. But he's averaging 10.6 points and 6 rebounds. He's only shooting 34% from 3, but he's shown flashes of being a streak shooter. And that's an area he can definitely improve, but he certainly has the confidence to shoot out. But he could become a solid threat off the bench. He's also great on defense, making him a prototypical 3 and D guy, which is great considering he's only 6'5". I think Josh Hart has a lot of scope for improvement in the shooting department, but if he gets that right, he can be a really good player off the bench for the Pelicans. Next we got Jrue Holiday. The 28-year-old is a valuable piece that the Pelicans can actually retain for the future. He's great on defense, and along with Lonzo, they actually form a scary backcourt defensively. He's also a great ball handler, so you can run the offense through Lonzo or Jrue Holiday or even Zion. You have 3 legitimate ball handlers on the team. It's amazing. Jrue Holiday is also exceptional at rebounding the ball, so you have a Swiss Army knife type player again, who can give you scoring, create his own shot, defend when required, and also facilitate for his teammates. And I think on a young roster like this, it's essential to have a few veterans who will show these young studs the way in the NBA and lead them to prosperity. I mean, it would help if he was a better 3-point shooter, no doubt. Next up, we got the big fish, Zion Williamson. The Pelicans go only so far as Zion Williamson takes them. And that's very clear. I was actually pretty skeptical about Zion Williamson coming into the NBA. I thought he was great in college, but not all great college players make really good NBA players, so I was a little skeptical. Right out the gate, he came and dominated in the NBA and is averaging about 24 points in the Rookie of the Year race, believe it or not. But nonetheless, he's made such an impact for the Pelicans, contending for the playoffs. They're actually invited to the Orlando bubble. Now coming to Zion Williamson's game, he's actually a great and underrated ball handler. He can also facilitate the offense and also handle the ball and score for himself if he needs to. Now we all know that Zion Williamson is a big guy, literally and physically, and so bully ball is his strongest suit. Now he's only 6'6", which is undersized for his position really, but his great vertical leap, amazing. And that vertical leap actually accounts for why he's able to rise up there with the tallest trees in the NBA. Lonzo and Zion actually formed great chemistry this season. Lonzo was throwing full court lobs to Zion, and every single time the Pelicans played, that was a phenomenon that had to occur, and so many highlights occurred because of that. I mean, Zion Williamson actually has an underrated skill facet. He can take you down to the post, turn you around, use his speed to get around you, dunk over you, cut in from the weak side. He's great at grabbing offensive rebounds. Zion is on the path to become a superstar, no doubt, but the only back is the injury concerns. Now, considering the fact that he had a meniscus tear in the summer league and also the fact that his shoe just literally ripped off in that Duke game, he is kind of injury prone. He hasn't proven otherwise. I hope he does, because he's a really good talent and he is going to take the NBA by storm, man. So if Zion actually turns into that superstar we all hope that he could turn into, the Pelicans are going to become a future dynasty. If Zion Williamson's career is riddled with injuries all throughout, and if he is just a fringe all-star or doesn't live up to his potential, then the Pelicans will fall short of that championship. Then we got the big guy Derek Favors. Now, he is a big guy, and I would actually extend this guy too, because he's giving you a double-double on 62% shooting and he's coming off the bench. So he's very efficient and he's a big guy that you need. I mean, ideally the Pelicans would need a center who can shoot threes, but those don't necessarily grow on trees. So Derek Favors is a solid guy off the bench, I think. And he too provides that veteran leadership that the young studs on the Pelicans need. JJ Redick is too old. I don't think he's gonna be on the Pelicans long term. So he's like some 40 or what is he? I don't know. Then we got the young Jackson Hayes. Now I'm actually at a crossroads on judging this guy because I don't really know how he'll pan out. A lot of people have actually hyped him up because of his leap and the dunks that he produces, but I'm not really sold on this guy, even though I do think he has a lot of untapped potential. And if the worst case scenario pans out, he'll be a end-to-end running dunking guy who can also protect the rim, which is not a bad thing. And then we got guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who had a great summer league, but I don't think he had a great NBA season. His game didn't translate that well. I think he has a lot of potential, but we're not seeing that pan out right now. I hope he'll turn it around. Well, he could prove us all wrong. He could be a Lonzo Ball type of a guy who takes more than a season or two to flourish, because he has length, lanky arms, and speed, agility. He's a pretty good defender, and he can do stuff on the offensive end too. So there's a lot of untapped potential there. So now that we've discussed everything regarding the roster of the Pelicans, what's in store for the future? Now, I've already said before that this team will only go so far as Zion Williamson takes them. If Zion Williamson becomes the superstar that we all presume he will become, the Pelicans have no ceiling, man. They have dynasty potential. As for what they can do to improve their roster, that's an interesting question. I think essentially the team should add more on shooting. I think they should fill their bench with shooters, because you'd want to surround a person like Zion with shooters, much like they did with Giannis in Milwaukee, so he can drive and dish and facilitate them with easy 3-point shots. They should also try and go after a center who shoots the 3 ball. This is a rare commodity in the NBA, but if they can, someone like, a younger version of Brook Lopez, let's say, would really help them out. And so far as trades go, this is pretty interesting. I do think Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson are untouchable trade assets, but I also do think everybody else on that team is a tradable asset. You can center a trade package deal around Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Jackson Hayes, or you can go and center a deal around Jrue Holiday. The Pelicans can actually make really good deals, as these are really great assets for trades to bolster their roster in the future if they're not happy with how things are going. Now, they got a great guy in the front office, David Griffin, and he's the one who pulled off this great trade. I mean, Dale Demps would have done the same thing, but I think David Griffin knows how to leverage. And I'm confident he's going to surround this team with all the pieces they need so that they can sustain the success in the future as well. As for their coach, Alvin Gentry, he's getting up there in age now, but I do think he's a solid coach and he's great with young talent as well. So it's ideal that they continue with this coach. I mean, he does make some questionable coaching decisions, but for the large part, he is a great coach and he's also tried and tested. So if all the chips fall as they may and everything goes to plan and Zion Williamson turns into that superstar along with Brandon Ingram, the Pelicans have a solid young core which they can work with. The Pelicans have the best future in the NBA. So what do you think about the Pelicans? Do you think they will actually turn into this dynasty, or will they fall way short of expectations? Can we all potentially be wrong? Well, leave your thoughts down below in the comments so we can start a conversation about it. If you liked this video, make sure to comment, like and subscribe. And that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you for listening.